Hi and welcome to Aussie Kicks. On today's show, well, we're going to be back working on this, the XTS-10 from Rlarrlo, the 1/10th rally car. Yeah, this is Gav from the future. This video is a bit of a smorgasbord of randomness. What do I mean by that? Well, I set out in this video to modify the original Rlarrlo car so that it would take a Tamiya body. And while it's been taking a while for me to sort that out, Rlarrlo have released another car, which is what this video is about as well. So instead of doing two videos separately, I've kind of merged them together because they're kind of relevant to each other. So stick with it. Promise I'll get there in the end and it will make sense-ish. I've done a whole series on this. And on the last video, I think that you've seen on this one, was where I did all the body and did all the graphics. Well, the rims, I bought a set of rims which were white, but they're just the stock ones. Anyway, someone found on AliExpress a set of rims and tyres that were rally-like that fitted over the actual hubs. So I picked up a set of those, really like them. It adds another layer of more realism. So I'm getting much closer to what I would like to have seen it come straight out of the factory-like. But there is one aspect to it that when it first came out, a lot of people were really excited about, and that was the wheelbase. Now the wheelbase was 257mm, which is really good when you're looking at loads of other potential bodies that you could put on it, especially things like Tamiya, for instance, they've got lovely bodies. Anyway, everyone was a bit disappointed because the track was way too wide. Well, turns out Rlarrlo decided to do a whole kit where you could take your XTS-10 and convert it to a 190mm track. And it just so happens I have the whole set. So the set is under and is still available. You can still buy them. I think it's R2079. I'll put a picture up here, or it could be it's R2079, and you're looking at $79.99. What do you get with that to convert this to a 190 track? Well, you get alloy arms. So you get 4 arms for the front and the rear. Then obviously you need different turnbuckles, so you have a whole set of new turnbuckles. Drive shafts obviously going to be a lot shorter, so you get 2 universal drive shafts and 2 dog bones, just like what's in the car already. Then you get body mounts, so these are going to be more standard body mounts so that you can fit other bodies. And then at the same time, one part that I really love from the XTS-10, which I have on this car, is the beautiful discs and calipers where the disc spins and the caliper doesn't. So I picked up a set of those myself as well. So that means that you can take cars like this and use bodies like this. So it gives you loads of options. If you're looking for a beautiful high detail body, but you want to run it, so you're looking for something that's going to be a bit stronger than say a TT02 or some kind of rally car, this can take so much more abuse. Not saying the bodies are going to last any longer though. Now there was one problem with this, and the reason why I still haven't done it, even though I've had this for a long time. I put loads of time and effort into this one, and I'm really happy with it. And if I then fit the kit, changing the wheelbase to 190, it's going to mean I can't use me body anymore. And that's a big shame, as I really like it. So, using my logic, I now have another one. This was the roller version. So this is the top of the range one with no electronics in it whatsoever. So the plan is I'm going to take this body off. We're not going to use the body, obviously. Then I'm going to fit all the conversion to this, and then we're going to get a Tamiya body. And the one that I've actually got here now, which I'm hoping is going to fit, is the new Audi R8. It comes saying LMS, but that's not the LMS one. This is like the street version, so it doesn't have all the race decals. But I do have lots of other bodies that hopefully are just going to drop straight onto this. So we're going to find out. I want to make sure, you know, are the body posts in exactly the same spot as like a TT02, for instance. Otherwise, that might limit you, as Tamiya sometimes drop kits without the holes, which would be good if they're not, but sometimes the holes are done for you, and that would be a problem. But we can find that out in this video. So, first thing we've got to do is strip this one down, change all the arms, and then put it all back together again, and then we can see what bodies fit. So there you go, it's all done, and there is a few issues. Now I do like these alloy arms, they are really nicely made. Fitting it to a Tamiya body. Now we have the correct wheelbase and the correct track. The body mounts that Rlarrlo offer as an option don't really fit to what Tamiya normally offers. So I picked up an old body that I had kicking around that I've replaced. This is pretty much knackered and I use this as a test bed. So as you can see, I've had to put the holes in different places. The mounting points that you normally see on Tamiya are further down the bottom, but these ones I've had to make right at the top. Also on the front, normally Tamiya have them here or down at the front here. These are now higher up. So that kind of discounts any Tamiya body that's already got the holes put in them already. Now there is ways to get around that. You can actually cut out a little bit of polycarbonate, put it there, glue it into place so it's flat, and then put a sticker over it. But that all comes down to, depends on the livery that you've got, whether there's stickers that go over that location. Sometimes you can get lucky, sometimes you can't. So you're really looking at bodies that don't have any holes put in them by Tamiya. So you're gonna have to do a bit of research on that if there's a body that you like. Anyway, I made some holes, just some test holes, and as you can see, it fits over there okay. So yes, you can definitely fit Tamiya bodies. Not all of them though. Obviously that's going to be a little bit of an issue. It would be nice if you could just say any standard wheelbase Tamiya body will work as like a TTO2, but because Tamiya do sometimes do the body holes and sometimes they don't, so you have to hunt out ones where it doesn't. The other thing is you might have to adjust the ride height of the car, because the Rlarrlo chassis has such massive shocks and massive towers. That does limit you a little bit because the tower is quite high compared to what you're used to in other cars. So you want to get something that's got quite a flat front end, not a super sloping front end, which is why I decided to use this. Now the other big issue, and the one that stumped me for quite a while, is the problem with the wheels. Now because they are very large lower arms, clearance on the back of the arm where the wheel is an issue if you use standard Tamiya wheels. Your turning circle is super small because the underside of the lower arm is hitting the inside of the rim. Well, you would think, okay, just get bigger rims. Well, the problem is, because you're trying to use a Tamiya body, there's a scale. You're working to a scale. So if you put the huge great rims that you get from, say, the Rlarrlo one on it, it's not going to be scale. So yes, you can play around and you could have it with very big wheels and you might be able to get it looking really nice, but you want it to be more turnkey than that. And that stumped me for a long time. And I've been looking around to try and find some rims that are the same on the outside but bigger on the inside, and I was struggling. Well, that's where it leads us directly onto the new release from Rlarrlo, as the tyres on that one happen to help fix the problem with this one. And why? Well, that's because the new release from Rlarrlo is on the thinner track that's the same as the Tamiya. So it's not like what you're used to seeing on the original one. They've actually gone and done it themselves, like I'm doing for this one. So they offered a modification kit from the first one to then do this, and now they brought out a car that actually has that dimensions already. See where the connection is? So yeah, stick with me. So what we're going to do now is we're going to unbox this, take a look at this, and see how we could probably impact this modification. But also, should you then bother, or should you just go and get the latest version? So let's unbox it and take a look at it. So there's so much to talk about. I'm trying desperately not to go off and ramble and waffle, but there's going to be quite a few videos out on this. So the usual unboxing here, talking about the electronics, and then just taking it bashing. I wanted to try and add some more value for this channel for the kind of people that watch it. So as you can note, it's now got all the decals on it. Now it comes with no decals at all and just 2 decal sheets. Now the decals that you get are not what you're seeing here. They're partly, really the only ones you get are these side ones. I went through my parts bin and found a few more decals, so I've done a few more on the front and the top here and on the rear. just to try and add a bit more detail, as really what I want to show you in this video is what they're capable of, what you can do with them. Because Rlarrlo, they're really trying to offer more, which I really like that. Now it's really difficult because they're trying to give you everything, right? And they're trying to do it at a certain price point. And I have to take my hat off to them. That's exactly the way that you should do it if you're trying to grow a RC company and produce good quality products. Does that mean that this is perfect? No, not even slightly. We'll come on to that. But what I wanted to add is what you can actually do with it versus just take it out the box and run it. Now, the first issue we came with is it's not a licensed body. What happened? Because apparently Rlarrlo were going to do licensed bodies. Well, I pushed back asking them and it fell down at the last moment and I couldn't really find out what happened. Not sure why. Speculating, maybe they thought that the decals weren't good enough. It wasn't close enough. I have no idea. I'm purely guessing. But on this one versus the previous one, they've actually put a full cockpit roll cage in it, which I love it, as this one could really do with it as well. So they've gone and ticked that box and tried to put more detail into the body. Just like the first one, you've got lights on the front, which are brilliant. You've got lights on the rear and they all light up, which again is another level of detail. Got windscreen wipers, you know, you got your mirrors and loads more detail, hard plastic around the front for the grills, as well as keeping the performance in the chassis. Now the chassis on this one is no different to the original one, apart from it has the short arms fitted to it, which is exactly what I was trying to do with this one. Got a little bit closer, new wheels arrived. So I was really interested in this one because this then opens the door to more potential body choices, which is what we really like from Tamiya, right? So you can have a real hardcore bashy kind of chassis, but then you have way more options to make it detailed and make it look really good, which is what I like doing myself. So yes, you can put a different body on this one. You're still going to have the same post issues that I found on the other one, as they are pretty much exactly the same. This has a semi-quick release body versus the posts, and they changed it a little bit. This one hinges up, whereas this one, they've changed the hinge mechanism to a sliding bit, obviously to lower cost and complexity, and also to take it off and clean the body is better if you can separate it, where the older one, you have to unscrew a lot of bits and pieces at the back to take it off. Wasn't a nightmare, but it was just something that they decided to do a bit differently. And personally, yeah, working on the chassis is easier with the body off versus having it tipped up. But then when you're out and about, having it tipped up to change batteries is kind of nicer. Yes, this is me out in the field trying to turn the thing on. As you can see, having loads of fun. So make of that what you will. The decals are a bit of an issue because it's kind of their first attempt at a real detailed car. The decals are not like, for instance, the way Tamiya did it in different sections. Now, apparently they're going to do that. This is a pre-production car, so there's a few things that are not quite. And they've also asked all the YouTubers to feed back all this information, which we have, to improve it. So fitting these decals were an absolute nightmare. To get the wing mirrors off and the door handles off to put the decals on, you've got to take the cockpit out. Taking the cockpit out is a lot more work. So for a ready to run, we kind of get into this two stages of you think you bought a ready to run, but then you've got to put in quite a bit of spannery time to put all the decals on. So personally, I think the decals should have been on in the factory versus you doing it, as I think it's a little bit too much. There is a lot of times where you buy a ready to run small little thing and you put a couple of decals on and that's okay, but having to dismantle most of the body to get access to take the door handles off and the mirrors off just feels like too much for someone who's buying a ready to run. And I'm pretty sure when all the YouTuber videos come out, I'm not sure how many of them are going to put the effort in to put all the decals on, so you can make from that what you will. Right, let's take the body off and have a look inside. Now this has got a few extra options that they sent me. Let's get it off. Now the quick release body is quick release-ish. I still found it a bit of a faff, and one thing that showed up when I took it out driving is the power button is now here and it's fixed, which I really like that instead of just flapping around. But you can't get to the on-off button with the body on. Even if you disconnect the side, you can't get your hand up inside to press that button. So then you've got to take the body off to turn it on. In the field, a little bit of a faff. So ideally that button shouldn't really be there. It should be tucked inside somewhere, like here for instance, where you can just pop the side, put your finger up and press it. But you could move that another day. Now it comes with the standard 2200 milliamp LiPo battery, 3S battery, and it comes with a new transmitter, which is again a step up. A little bit better quality, still kind of entry level, but not bargain basement. From this, you can actually turn on and off the gyro, as well as turn on and off the lights, which is really nice. They did change the electronics a little bit. I'll put the specs up, you can take a look at it. The actual layout is exactly the same. One thing you will note is you have two receiver box and you have this plate on here, and that's so if you want to run a proper 3S battery instead of these dinky little things, you can, and you relocate the ESC onto that top plate. Now, I would ideally like to see the ESC screwed to the chassis, but they're still using double-sided tape, and I don't like that, as when I got mine, it was a little bit loose, still is a little bit loose. It's not really a big issue. You can fix it by just changing the tape for a better quality one, but of course it's the kind of feel that you've spent good money on it, and it's still a bit naff. It should have little tabs and be screwed down. Hopefully that's something we'll see in the future. Again, you know, quite cheap thing to do. And why not just offer a large battery? Now, when I went out running this, the 2200 milliamp battery, you burn through this pretty quick. So you, personally, if you're going to get one of these and you're looking for batteries, getting a few of these batteries is definitely going to be the way to go. Alternatively, move the ESC to the top plate and then fit the battery mounts that you can put the more kind of hard case, larger 3300 up kind of batteries, and then you don't have to mess around with it, as a 2200 milliamp is not going to give you enough time for you to have as much fun. It will leave you wanting more, so you definitely would need two of these, if not three. Another thing that you'll notice on this car is it has the discs and caliper fitted. That is an optional upgrade. I've got it fitted to this car as they sent it to me. Now, there is something to bear in mind, and I hope they fix this. If you just buy the optional disc and caliper, they won't fit to the car. You have to buy the alloy hubs, and the mount is in the alloy hub to attach the caliper, but they sell them separate. So just being mindful, if you want to add the disc and calipers, and you should, they look brilliant, you've got to buy the alloy hubs. Right, I think that pretty much covers everything, so let's take it out for a bit of a blast. So straight away you can see just how lovely it drifts. The chassis is very sorted, and I love the chirping coming from the tyres. Super smooth, very easy to get on the power and get it to step out. It has got a gyro in the ESC. Mine's set to maximum, and unfortunately I cannot adjust it as this is a pre-release version. In the release version you'll be able to adjust the gyro strength in the transmitter. So I'm kind of stuck with the gyro going a little bit too much. Then the fun stopped when I realised the front had got jammed because one of the arches had come loose. So I did swap out the double-sided tape that came with them for much better quality ones, and then I didn't have any issues at all.
Living the dream, but everybody's singing along. I'll soon be gone. Hey, what's the matter with the bright red lights? Hey, in the moment when the world went blind, but everything's alright. We don't give a damn this time.
After looking at the footage, I think you can agree it still handles really well, even with that narrow track versus the original one. I did have some issues, mind. I did have cutting out. The ESC cut out twice on me after messing around, put about 4 packs through it. Anyway, I've looked around and I've talked to a few people about it, and I think the issue could be this is an 80 amp ESC, which is way higher than the ones that we got in the previous version. They're still shipping the same battery, which is a 2200 milliamp 35C. Well, if you put it into the calculator, 80 amps 35C 2200 milliamps is 77 amps. So this, under full chat, is getting very close to maxing out how much it can deliver that energy to the ESC. So the cutting out could be due to the ESC thinking the voltage has dropped too low and it's the end of the battery, so then shuts off. So that's something that's going to need a little bit of a investigation by Rlarrlo. Personally, I think it's time, if you're going to be putting that kind of power ESC in, this battery needs to be upgraded. I did actually have a look, and a lot of the other Rlarrlo batteries are still 30 to 35C. Now, I'm not sure if that is the case, but just looking at the numbers, or whether the ESC that's in this car, being an early version, is not happy, or something's not quite right with it. And I think this was a bit of a silly thing for Rlarrlo. Honestly, they should have sent us the car first, given them the feedback, then they give us the updates, then we do it, and then we do a review. So I can't honestly say that they say it's going to be resolved when the production ones come out. But I have to be transparent and tell you exactly as I see it. So the big question I'm sure you want me to answer is, should you convert your original one to this track to run different bodies, or should you buy the conversion kit, or should you just get the new car? Honestly, I would probably stick with the one you've got or buy that one. If you're thinking about maybe doing some body changes and you like tinkering down the line, get the new one. Personally, I don't think it's worth getting the optional kit to do something like this, unless you can get a really good deal on it, because you'll have to end up modifying these front arms and grinding them down and then getting new tires anyway. So this was a nice option when there was no other way of doing it, that you could just buy this car and convert it. But now that they've done this car, you might as well just buy this car. Now, as for taking it out and giving it a blast, performance wise, this one is slightly better because of the width. The track width gives you a little more planted, but the performance of this one I was really happy with.